My name is Shireesh Sahai. I am the CEO for India for Wolters Kluwer. Wolters Kluwer is a Dutch multinational which is 180-year-old. For us at Wolters Kluwer, artificial intelligence, machine learning has actually already transitioned from being in the incubator to in the reality. The example that I'm going to talk today is going to be about machine learning, which is actually drastically reducing mortality. And I think all of you would agree with me that there is nothing more real than death. When I talk in hospital settings, a term like death, what normally comes to mind is cancer, myocardial infarction, AIDS. What if I tell you that there is a condition which is even more deadlier than this? A condition which is contributing to deaths which is even more than all of these diseases combined. A condition for US, for which a country like US spends $20 billion annually. $1 billion with B. And I don't even know how much a country like ours spends on that. What I'm talking about is a condition called sepsis. In a layman term, it actually means poisoning of the blood, which leads to organ failure and it leads to death. There are close to 50 lakh patients who die annually because of this disease. And the mortality rate of this condition is as high as 60%. And what is worse is that over a period from 1980 to now, the number of deaths has actually doubled. You know, we talk about technology, but the number of deaths because of this condition has actually doubled. Closer to home in India, more than 25% of our ICU patients are impacted by this complication. To understand the deadliness of this disease, I would like to highlight to you that this disease, the clinical evidence that the symptoms that start are very subtle. It starts as simple as a simple fever. But what makes it worse is that every hour of delay that is done on treatment increases the chances of death by 8%. Even the best of the hospitals who are putting sepsis care bundles in place have a mortality rate as high as 30%. And the hospitals which are not putting those bundles in place, it increases multifold. You know, after hearing me talk for so long, for at least 3 minutes, you would be wondering if it's such a deadly condition and it has so much of impact, why we have not been able to take care of it, why we have not been able to manage it. And I would say there are basically 3 reasons for that. The first reason is hospitals, when they are trying to manage it, there are too many false positives. The second reason is the EHR systems, even in the best of the hospitals in India, in US, wherever, it has very limited capability and rules. And thirdly, the alerts which are given to make the treatment probably are going to wrong people. Instead of going to a nurse, it's going to a doctor instead of a nurse. No wonder that meta-analysis of 8 clinical studies done on clinical decision support system concluded no decrease in mortality. So what would an ideal solution for a condition like this look like? It would have 4 factors. The first one, it should be able to identify sepsis in patient as early as possible. As I told you, the speed is of the essence. Every hour of delay increases the risk of death by 8%. And that's high sensitivity. It should be able to avoid the false positive because that leads to basically alert fatigue. The nurse doctor goes there and finds that this is not the patient who is affected by sepsis. So high specificity. Thirdly, it should be able to seamlessly flow into the EHR system and should be able to display to the caregiver relevant information. And last but not the least, this rule alert should give it to the appropriate person at the appropriate time. Now, sounds like a pretty complicated, unique solution, and that's where machine learning actually came into play. You know, at Wolters Kluwer, we pride ourselves to be companions of clinicians who are sitting in this audience and many more around the world. We like to be the people who can sit next to you, provide you information, data, so that you can take the critical decisions for the patients to improve their lives. And that's what Wolters Kluwer Innovation Lab did. They developed a solution called POC Advisor. POC stands for Point of Care Advisor, which was based on machine learning, which was backed by algorithms, multiple algorithms, which helped to identify sepsis even before the kind of symptoms started developing. We use predictive analytics to find out patients who are actually suffering, has a high risk of septic shock and septic failure. Based on this, you know, just a couple of rules as an example, I would say, you know, the heart rate for a patient who's on beta blocker, the threshold rule alert was different. Creatinine was actually assessed differently for patients who were suffering from renal failure, or renal disease. So I just talked to you about two rules. There are 80,000 plus rules which are built into this machine learning backed solution. Simply put, this solution does four things. It constantly monitors the patient information in the EHR system. It translates that system, that information into a language that can be understood, because you know the data is coming off from different sources, heartbeat, heart rate, blood pressure data, and all that. So it translates that, and then most importantly, it kind of analyzes based on rules engine, which is like 80,000 plus rules are involved in that. And last but not the least, it gives the rules alert to the doctor and nurse to take the appropriate action. What I talked to you about, let me now show you in a video to illustrate the same.
POC Advisor, an electronic system designed for the early detection of sepsis. How does it work? A new patient's vital signs and lab results are relayed from the EHR to the WK cloud service via a secure, HIPAA-compliant, encrypted VPN link. POC Advisor supports a wide variety of exchange formats, including all standard HL7 interfaces. Once received, the language engine maps the diverse data to standard terminologies. Behind it all is a rules engine built on clinical knowledge from rich content sources like UpToDate, Lexicomp, and Provation. The rules engine accesses the standardized data and executes thousands of clinical scenarios to determine what decision support is warranted. In this case, the analysis indicates that the patient is suffering from severe sepsis. POC Advisor then delivers relevant, succinct clinical decision support to the appropriate device at the point of care. The nurse is alerted to begin treatment for sepsis and is prompted to communicate with the on-call physician. The physician confirms the decision support recommendations, and the patient receives the appropriate treatment. POC Advisor has helped to save a life by quickly delivering comprehensive decision support in a convenient and actionable manner.
What you just saw is not on paper. This solution has been implemented in Huntsville Hospital in Alabama, a tertiary teaching hospital with more than 941 beds. And the results of this implementation has been phenomenal. We had some of the wards which were implemented with this solution, and some wards randomized trial was conducted and which were not having this solution. And what the results we saw were phenomenal. And these got published in American Medical Informatics Journal, a highly respected journal. And the results showed 53% reduction in the mortality in the wards where this solution was implemented, compared to the wards where it was not. 30% reduction in 30-day readmission date. It went down from 19% to 13%. 95% sensitivity and 82% specificity. None of these results had ever been achieved. No wonder this solution has got the 2017 award, class award. The rules engine of Century 7 has won this award. So I want to just end by saying that a sobering thought. Artificial intelligence, machine learning is actually today has the potential to saving lives. It's about time that all of us accept this reality, because it could be our children who are going in tomorrow into hospital and their lives are getting saved. Thank you.